Hi YouTube, hi VC, it's Rob here with another video, and this video I'm going to show my top 10 favourite albums from 1988, and this is a contest entry for Gav's Music Trip, a pretty new channel to me. I think Gav's in the Midlands somewhere, and this is celebrate 100 subscribers to his channel. I think he's running this contest until the end of September, so plenty of time for other people to jump in. So a fun part of this contest, as well as showing 5 to 10 albums from the year you were 23. So the year I was 23 was 1988. And 1988 has got to go down as one of the worst years for music. I've managed to get 10 albums, and these are all 10 good albums. The ones at the top of the chart I really rate. But Gav also wants us to show some photos of when we were 23. So I've got a few here, make you laugh. So here's me getting ready to go on holiday in 1988. I think I was going to Ibiza, so I'm not sure what I was wearing a coat like that for. Here's me wandering around the campsite. Looked like I could do with a few good dinners in me, and obviously relaxing, part of a 2-week holiday. So let's get on to the music. 10 albums from 1988. And number 10, I've got this one, Julian Cope, and this album, My Nation Underground. So Julian Cope's always been a big favourite of mine. Big fan of Teardrop Explodes. This one's on Island Records. But this album certainly isn't one of his best. But there's some really nice songs on here. I like the 5 O'Clock World, and especially the track Charlatan. But yeah, China Doll as well. I think that was a single. Julian Cope is a really interesting artist, and a lot of his solo albums are certainly worth picking up. So this one's my number 10. It's Julian Cope and My Nation Underground. Coming in at number 9 are a band who, well, a duo who had quite a lot of success in the 80s, and it's Everything But the Girl, and this album Idlewild. So I actually had this on cassette back in 88, so it's just got a pretty plain label there. So sophisticated, lush sounding. I actually played this morning. Really enjoyed it. I particularly like Oxford Street, but they were formed in Kingston upon Hull, on the east side of the UK. Ben Watt, Tracy Thorn. I think Tracy Thorn has released a few solo albums over the last 10 years, a bit of a Norther now as well. You get the lyrics on the back as well. But I really love the album Eden by Everything But the Girl. I think that one was maybe 83 or 84, but this stands up. It's a good album. It's Idlewild, my number 9, by Everything But the Girl. Coming in at number 8 is a band who were pretty influential in the late 80s. It's the House of Love, and this debut album, The House of Love. So Guy Chadwick was the guy behind the House of Love, 65 years of age now. And I wasn't aware that the House of Love actually got back together again a couple of years ago. Christine was a big song from this album. As you can see, I'm not sure about that sticker. I picked this album up pretty cheap a couple of years ago, and it's a bit of a classic from 1988. Really good album. My number 8, The House of Love and The House of Love. Number 7 is another duo actually from Scotland, just outside Glasgow. It's Hue and Cry, and this album is called Remote. So when I was looking at sort of the best albums from 1988, hardly any of the sort of perceived as really good albums. I have a lot of the albums that I like, mostly sort of British music, just doesn't feature in sort of the best of lists. And this is a case in point. In '88, I really love this album. Every track, Ordinary Angel's a great song. Looking for Linda was a bit of a hit as well. Sweet Invisibility, Violently was a single. Title track Remote is a really good song as well. This is like a bit of a forgotten record, really. Maybe they're not deemed as cool. The Kane brothers, Pat and I'm forgetting what the other Kane brothers called. Pretty political. Had sort of careers in journalism after the band sort of commercial success sort of went on the wane. But if you ever see this, I mean, this only cost me a couple of quid. My original copy of this is at my ex-wife's, so and she's got quite a lot of my records from '88, so maybe that's affected my chart. But if you see this for a couple of quid, pick it up. It's a good album. My number 7 is Remote by Hue and Cry. Coming in at number 6, one of my favourite sort of solo artists is Billy Bragg. And this album is called Workers' Playtime. So I actually saw Billy Bragg on tour when he did this album. You get the lyrics. It's on gold discs, I think, yeah. Pay no more than $4.99. Certainly worth a lot more than that. Starts off with She's Got a New Spell. Finishes off with Waiting for the Great Leap Forward, which is a great song. Valentine's Day is Over. Must I Paint You a Picture? Full of really good songs, this album. One of Billy Bragg's strongest. So yeah, my number 6 is Billy Bragg and Workers' Playtime. Coming in at number 5 is a band who I've spoke about quite a few times on my videos. Had no success whatsoever, but I saw them live about 5 or 6 times. It's the Brilliant Corners, and Somebody Up There Likes Me. So there's Davey Woodward, the singer with the Brilliant Corners, and they kind of took over the mantle of the Smiths for me. They were from Bristol, as you can see there. That's very sort of Smiths-like, and the packaging. But they were just a good fun band. They had a bit of a novelty song called Brian Ricks, which is well worth checking out, the video on YouTube. So yeah, a couple of singles on here that didn't do anything. Teenage is on here. This is one of those albums that I just put it on, and there's a lot of nostalgia obviously when you're 23. The most, for me, it's when you're 15 is when music really sort of takes over your life. It did for me. When I was 23, I was busy doing other things, spending money on other things. Music was sort of the backdrop, but I don't know whether I'm just a little bit unlucky with 1988, but I've got some great albums to come, and this is another good album. Well worth checking out if you ever see it. Check out the Brilliant Corners and this album, Somebody Up There Likes Me. Number 4, this is an album that is very, very highly regarded, and rightly so, but I don't sort of have the connection with this album that I have with the others. So it's Spirit of Eden by Talk Talk. So this is the album that came out after, oh God, what's it called? Colours of Spring, which is one of my favourite albums. So this is a reissue. Oh, get the record out there. So this is Talk Talk, really a different sound. You could hear a change in Colours of Spring, but this really goes at it. You know, there's only 6 tracks on this album. It starts off with Rainbow. And this is an album that I've only discovered over the last 5 years, really. I've lost interest a little bit with Talk Talk. I certainly didn't buy this album when it came out. but this is an album that's really highly regarded, and it's a bit of a classic, but like I say, it doesn't really have the nostalgia, certainly the next 3 records. So coming in at number 4, Spirit of Eden by Talk Talk. Number 3 is an album that I don't think many people have got, but it's one of my favourites, a band called The Bible, and this album's called Eureka. So I remember, again, saw The Bible many times around this period. Bo Huadine is the lead singer. This album starts off with a track called Skywriting, which is absolutely gorgeous. Sort of just pop music, really. Bit sophisticated. Honey Be Good, another really good single that, you know, it just couldn't make a dent on the charts. Got a song on here called Crystal Palace, so that's one for Patrick Vieira and Ian Wright. Cigarette Girls, November Brides. Every song on this album, it just takes me back to 1988. Again, this is an album you can pick up relatively cheap. I just love it. I can't speak highly enough of it. Maybe I wasn't into super cool music in '88. It was sort of a bit of a transitional period just before the Manchester scene. But yeah, great album by The Bible. This one's called Eureka. They're from Cambridge. They had an album before this called Walking the Ghost Back Home, which is excellent as well. But this was kind of their final album. So I think they did do another album after this that I've got on CD somewhere, which is good. But this is a really, really good album, Eureka by The Bible. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Manchester Connection, and we've got Bummed by the Happy Mondays. So yeah, when this came out in '88, I wasn't aware of it. It was sort of 18 months later, really, when I got into this album. Moving In With, Mad Cyril, Lazy Itis, recorded in August 88. Can't show that in a sleeve because it's full of nudity, but you get the idea. A couple of women. Yeah, Happy Mondays, certainly getting on with the Manchester sound on this album, and it's a classic, and it's my number 2. It's Bummed by the Happy Mondays. So what's my number 1 album? Probably classed as a pretty uncool band, but they're a band that I've always loved, and I love this album, From Langley Park to Memphis by Prefab Sprout. So it starts off with King of Rock and Roll, which is a song that annoys me because when you ask people on the street, you know, I'm always asking people on the street, you know, what's your favourite Prefab Sprout song? And they always, you know, say King of Rock and Roll. And that's because they don't know Cars and Girls, and they don't know Hey Manhattan, and they don't know Enchanted, and I Remember That, and Nightingales. It's just a gorgeous album. The production is a little bit too slick at times. This is an album that I play. When I do play it, I love it, but I don't sort of overplay it now. But there's a lot of nostalgia, again, with this album. Paddy McAloon, this is sort of the album after Steve McQueen, which, again, is one of my favourite albums of all time. And, yeah, Prefab Sprout was special to me. No, they're not everyone's cup of tea, but for me, favourite album from 1988, really, pretty easy, From Langley Park to Memphis by Prefab Sprout. So that's my entry into Gav's Music Trips contest. Go and check out Gav's channel. Like I say, just over 100 subscribers. His videos aren't too long. He's well worth checking out, so go and support his channel. If you've got any comments about my top 10, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching my video, and bye for now.